Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Kevin Lau here for another Whiteboard Fireside Chat. And today we're going to be doing a follow-up to the video last time about the 4% rule and about safe rates of withdrawal. And we talked about some of the limitations with the 4% rule. And one of those is including the idea that the initial study, the initial research didn't include any other cash flows, like Social Security. It didn't factor in taxes. And so I'm going to be actually breaking down the impact of those two planning action items, in terms of maxing Social Security as well as optimizing your taxes. And we're going to go on the whiteboard and actually pulled out some of the slides from this client's financial plan. Obviously, it's anonymous, no personal identifiable information are on there. And so hopefully you find this helpful and hopefully you get a sense that, oh, the light bulb comes off that, hey, you know what? You're not just going to have a static rate of withdrawal for the rest of your life. And starting with a 4% assumption is essentially pretty much going to guarantee that you're going to underspend significantly in retirement and not optimize taxes. And so we're going to break this down. I've got this on my slide here. It's delay and convert. So the idea here is we're going to delay Social Security. So this client that we're talking about is 61 years old. She's married. Her husband is 63. He started Social Security already. So he has Social Security coming in. And her only income right now is a pension that will start at 62. So she actually does not have any income coming in. She's already retired. And she has a pension that's going to start at 62. So that'll be a nice little baseline. And then really her question was, hey, should I just start Social Security at 62 as well? Okay. And so we talked about longevity. We talked about, their long-term goal in terms of, maximizing inheritance for their children, for their son. And so she does have some longevity in her gene pool. Her mom, in fact, is in her mid 80s and actually lives with them. And with that, we're leaning towards delaying Social Security. We're not set on it yet. I mean, she's only 61 right now, but we're leaning towards delaying Social Security until 70. So that's essentially a 9-year bridge from now until she's starting Social Security in order to supplement her pension that will start next year, as well as her husband's Social Security. Okay. And they've saved a nice chunk of change. She's got about $900,000 that she saved inside of her tax deferred IRA. And then she's got this other pension is actually coming from a lump sum of 161,000 that she could either roll over into an IRA or turn into a life annuity. And I'm strongly going to advocate her turning into a life annuity. And the reason is because she's had that account for so long. I mean, she's had that account for 40 years. And so she's got these, you can call them loyalty credits built into there, where when she turns on that switch of lifetime income, the payout rate is so attractive. I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of about 6.8%. So it's hard to ignore that because if you were to get a fixed income annuity today, you're not going to get a 6.8% payout rate at this point in time, especially at her age 61 and his age 63. So we've got these multiple streams of income coming in at different times. And we also have this idea that, they want to maximize inheritance, and $900,000 is in a tax deferred IRA. And then the other 161, we're going to turn into a pension. So 100% of her assets are going to be in tax deferred vehicles. And that's very important to remember when it comes to required minimum distributions, which for her, RMDs will start at 75. Okay. So, all right, look at this. This is a rate of withdrawal chart or graph that I pulled out from the financial plan. And as you can see, the plan looks great. I mean, no income shortage, which is great, obviously. But you'll see that the starting withdrawal rate for her is above 6%. Okay, and the reason is because the only income coming in is his Social Security, and that's it. And then ultimately the next year it's going to drop just a little bit because that's when she starts her pension. So then it drops down to about 5%. Okay, so still a pretty safe rate of withdrawal. And you'll notice this will trend upwards on a go-forward basis. And then at 69, that is the last year in which she's going to need to rely on her portfolio for income. So that 9-year bridge that sounded very, very scary, all of a sudden at 70, now we have her Social Security starting. We have SS1, and then SS2 is her spouse's Social Security, and then they have a pension. Okay, and all three of these, they take care of their income goal. They don't need any additional income. Now, obviously, there will probably be things that come up along the way. New roof, new AC, new refrigerator, Maybe it's a big trip. Maybe it's a medical bill. So there's going to be one-off expenses. We know that already. But in terms of maintaining their current lifestyle, after age 69, they don't have any need to withdraw any assets from their portfolio. But look what happens here. 75. This is when required minimum distributions kick in. Okay, so RMDs. And so they start out roughly 3.7% of her portfolio, and then it just goes up a little bit over time. All right. And why that's so important is because she doesn't need that income for her lifestyle. And so ultimately, the situation we're running into is that they're taking distributions out not because they need them, but because the IRS is going to make you. Otherwise, you pay a 25% penalty. You don't want to do that. Okay. So how do we solve for that? So this is essentially just going to create additional taxable income for them they don't need at this point in time. So my mind immediately goes to Roth conversions. And are there Roth conversion opportunities during these years before required minimum distributions kick in? So we ran our models, we ran our testing on that one, and absolutely. Okay, so now we've got a different chart up here. And now the chart is, now the rate of withdrawal starts a little bit higher because now we're going to be doing not only supporting her lifestyle, but also doing some conversions. So we're going to be taking a larger distribution, closer to 7% that first year. Some is going to go to their expenses, and some will go to convert to their Roth IRA. And then the next year, as we already mentioned, that's when the pension kicks in. And so the rate of withdrawal drops just below 6%. But really, I mean, 6 to 7, and then all the way upwards of 9% is really going to be that range of withdrawals during the next 9 years. And then look what happens. Now Social Security kicks in at 70. And now these withdrawals are just for those Roth conversions that we talked about. And then at 73, it's just pretty much done. There's pretty much no more assets inside of her tax deferred account. All of it is inside of the Roth account, so no required minimum distributions needed as part of their income plan. So what that means is they have more flexibility in terms of the timing of withdrawals. They don't have to take out a distribution year to year. They can take it out as needed, and that income will be tax-free to them as opposed to taxable to them. And oh, by the way, it's important for them to leave a financial legacy, and that will go to their son tax-free as well, the assets that are inside of the Roth. And so this is so important because many people get so afraid to start anywhere even close to 7%, let alone 5% or 6%. Okay. And you need to keep in mind that this may not last forever, because if we optimize Social Security during these years, your income needs are going to drop significantly. And then also, if we optimize your tax plan, your Roth conversions, you're not going to get hit with these big RMD traps that many clients get hit with during their RMD phase. Whether that's age 73 for some of you or it's 75. Okay, this could be a significant tax trap. I've talked about this many times. And so many people are so scared to start with a 6, 7, 8, 9% rate of withdrawal, not realizing that's not going to last forever. And I think a large part of that is because of this Bill Bengen rule of thumb of the 4% rule. And many people are just so fixated on 4%, when in reality, the 4% rule is just there as a benchmark. Okay. So if you're starting at 7 and you never go below 7, okay, that's probably going to be an issue. You're going to probably run into a shortfall later on in life. Okay. Unless you just get super lucky and we just have a bull run during your entire retirement, which is highly unlikely. Okay. So just because you're starting with a higher than normal rate of withdrawal doesn't mean it's the end of the world. Okay. And also, you may think, hey, you know what? If you're burning down your assets early on and doing these Roth conversions, what happens to the ending portfolio? And so I pulled out this graph here from our Monte Carlo simulation. And the median ending portfolio value, again, this will be 100% tax-free, is almost 1.4 million bucks. So yeah, the portfolio dipped in the beginning because we're doing heavy Roth conversions. We were taking a higher than average rate of withdrawal. But then once Social Security kicks in at 70, now the portfolio has time to recover. Plenty of time to recover. And that will be that financial legacy down the road. That will be there to support potential long-term care expenses down the road. That'll be there to support unexpected expenses that come up along the way. So I hope you all find this helpful. And I guess the biggest takeaway is, no rate of withdrawal is going to be right for everybody. There's no rule of thumb that's going to be perfect for every retirement plan. It's going to be 100% based on your specific situation, your financial goals, your risk tolerance, and the assets that you've accumulated. And so make sure you consult with a professional. Make sure you consult with someone that you trust, that you know, like, and trust. And make sure you talk to someone if you're approaching retirement that specializes in retirement planning. Don't just go talk to any other financial advisor, because there are over 200,000 of us out there. And so if you're talking to an advisor that sort of works with clients all over the spectrum, they may not have this kind of expertise. And so you want to make sure you talk to a specialist that deals with retirement planning day in and day out. And if you need help with finding one, let me know. I've got several resources that I can point you towards, and maybe I'll link them in the comments. I'll put them in the comment section and put a couple of resources that you can find an advisor that specializes in retirement planning. So important there. So, and if you're liking our stuff, if you're liking the YouTube channel, obviously the podcast is the primary, the retirement planning, the Planning for Retirement podcast, but the Whiteboard Fireside Chats has been a lot of fun for me personally. And if you're liking it, make sure you like the video, make sure you share it with a friend or a colleague that is also in the same boat, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. It helps us a ton. It helps us reach more people. Okay, we need to trick the algorithm. All right, we need to impact more people. We need to get our content in front of more people, because this is super important, and not enough people in the financial industry are talking about these topics. So hope you all found it helpful, and until next time, this is Kevin Lau signing off.